Hello everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Spinning Plates. First up we have Mean Old Ladies by Bud Naked Biologist. Three top seats themselves in closed section. I take them anyway because one of them uses a walker and I don't want to make her move again. They don't want apps, just drinks, and needed extra time to look at the menu. Finally get their order. One of them wants a baked potato and we only have mash. Just smush a bunch of mash together. They're old, they won't notice. It's literally a Chili's. She says that's fine, so that's what I rang in. My other table ordered chips and salsas, so I bring it to them, and as I'm walking away, the old ladies wave me down and say, "Oh, we don't get any chips and salsa like they did." I'm taken aback, so I respond, "Well, did you order chips and salsa? Because I don't remember that." "I can definitely ring one up for y'all and go grab it quickly. I'm so sorry about that." They said, "Oh, you have to pay for that? Never mind." Yes, you actually do have to order and pay for what you eat at a restaurant. Surprise. Then I bring their food. They're fine, say it looks great. I walk away, then come back a minute later of them eating to make sure everything tastes okay, and they say yes. I go to make refills and bring it to their table. And then one of the other servers says they wanted a side of fries, and he put it in for me. Okay, weird, but whatever. So I bring the fries and the refill, and they say they did not order fries. Whatever, I don't care. How's the rest of your food? Could I get anything else? Well, now, this mashed potato lady said she didn't touch her mash and wants different sides. I look down at her empty and half-empty bowls of mash with the fork literally still in the bowl and say, "Well, since the mashed potatoes are eaten, I will have to ask my manager." Then the other two old ladies start defending her, saying she hasn't touched them. And I just said, "I'm going to have to ask my manager." Well, of course, he's like, "No, it's not even worth it," and just gives me her extra free sides. I bring them out. She's not even there, and they ask for boxes. Oh, don't worry, they'll be in boxes real soon. I bring boxes and to-go drinks and start taking payment because, of course, it's all separate. Well, one lady gives me cash, and I bring her change and set it in front of her on the table because they're talking to one another and packing up their to-go boxes. I ask if I could get them anything else, and she stops and says, "I need you to hand me this money correctly." She holds her hand out, so I laugh and smack it down into her hand. She tells me no, do it correctly, so then I smack the receipt in her hand with the money. She says no again, and so I say, "Would you like for me to count your change?" She says no, and finally gets irritated and unfolds the money and hands it to me to hand to her. Then it comes time for her to give me the cash for the mashed potato lady's ticket, and I count it in front of the table. She's $1 short. I stuck my hand right in front of her nose and say, "You're $1 short, and I need you to hand it to me correctly." She stuck that dollar in my hand, and I told them, "Be careful, that door likes to hit people on the way out." And I hope I never see their ugly, wrinkled faces again, because I will not be serving them. Excellent. Story number 2 today is AITA for not coming off my break at work. No, you're on your break. By OKTalk9802. I work in hospitality at a very busy restaurant in the city. The owners of the restaurant refuse to hire more staff because they say we're all capable enough on our own. But that leaves us with a maximum of 4 floor staff on a fully booked weekend. Y'all need to be less capable then. We're indeed capable. However, we still end up with lines out the door and customers waiting a while for us to take their order. We get daily comments from customers that we look understaffed and that we could benefit from a new system, etc. On a 7-hour shift, we each only get one 15-minute break. Really? Huh. 5 minutes into my break, one of the owners calls me and told me I have to come back to the floor because new tables needed seating. Oh, I don't know. I think the owner seems capable of filling in for you. It had been a particularly stressful shift so far, and I replied, you need to hire more staff so you don't pull people out of their breaks. But I did go back inside to help the other servers until it was quieter. 45 minutes later, I went to finish the rest of my break. I'm assuming this isn't a paid break. The owner came and sat with me outside and told me that I should have a much more professional tone when talking to my boss, and that instead of them hiring new people, I just need to take my break at a different time. Or your boss could be more professional and hire enough people to actually run the business instead of running the few employees they have at maximum capacity and wearing them out and having to replace them quicker than they would if the place was properly staffed. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you have to do something. I think I'd like to slap your boss. Okay, it's fine, don't worry, it's alright. No one's getting slapped. I just want to do it. I replied, I'm on my break. I can speak to you when I'm on the clock. Not paid, see? But I'm eating right now. Not even 10 seconds after I said this, one of the other servers came out and told me very regretfully that she needed me on the floor to take orders while she seated new customers. Generally, I would have done this for her because the servers are a team, and I help them as much as I can, but to make a point I said, no, sorry, I'm finishing my break, but maybe the boss could hire someone else so we wouldn't keep doing this. He looked at me like I had just killed someone. Justice ego, love, justice ego. And said that I was cut from the shift and to go home. That'll teach you, yeah. Have even less staff in the store. And get some rest because I must be delirious. Time you can use looking for another job. He also said I should take this as a warning. I knew this was a horrible idea because the servers would struggle and the wait times would be so long, but I was just so angry I just walked out. I later found out through WeChat that they had to close the store early because they were understaffed and couldn't seat any more customers. Who would have thought it? We got at least 6 negative reviews on Google Maps, but a very lovely 5-star review from a lady saying we did our best even though we were understaffed. I wasn't put on any shifts this upcoming week, so I put in my 2-week notice with some petty advice on how to hire hospitality workers and how to run a restaurant. Neither of the owners are speaking to me or replying to my notice email, and the other servers are calling me selfish for leaving them alone on their shift. You were sent home. Not your fault. Not your problem, even. One girl said I must be having a manic episode, and that's what made me want to post this to Reddit. Oh, goodness, I know this is America without even having to check. It's because of the absolute toxic work culture in America where everyone's expected to just work themselves literally to death in some cases. Then you're the bad guy if you choose not to. It's ridiculous, it really is. I'm aware I'm probably somewhat of an a-hole. No, you're really not. But is this justified 100%? I don't know if I've completely lost my mind because I seem to be the only one that thinks the owners deserved what they got. The owners are going to have to close up shop if they don't change their attitude. They probably do think you're completely in the wrong, that's why they're not talking to you. Even although sending one employee home destabilized the whole shift to the point they had to close early. What happens if multiple people get sick at once? You all work in the same environment, it's going to happen eventually. How are they going to run the place then? You're going to get another job. You'll find somewhere. You've got experience, so they're always looking for servers in places if that's the kind of job you want to continue doing. So I doubt you're going to struggle too much to find somewhere else. But they're going to struggle to keep their staff if that's the way they keep treating them. Except the losers that are still currently working there who seem to think you're the bad guy for standing up for yourself. At least they'll think you're the bad guy until they're the one being picked on. Alright, story number 3. We have exhibitionist semi-regulars. Oh my, what would you do? By Daynana. I wish I was joking. We have a couple, maybe mid-30s, that comes in once a month or so. always sits in a booth seat and always shoving their tongues down each other's throats the entire time. Any other time they've been in, we haven't noticed anything majorly over the line, though the making out is definitely a bit much for me personally to stomach in a public setting. Yeah, that really shouldn't be allowed. Though in hindsight, maybe we weren't keeping enough of a close eye on them. Today we caught them getting touchy with each other, to the point of the guy fondling the girl's chest while she gave a straight up over the pants hand job. My heavens! The minute we noticed, we went straight to the manager. She went to talk to them on the basis of getting complaints from other patrons about their behavior. Not true, as far as I know. Adult staff members were thankfully the only ones who saw, after which they behaved themselves. It's disgusting behavior in normal circumstances, but to add to that, here is currently school holidays, and this was at 2 in the afternoon, so there were a lot of families and children around the cafe. Not to mention some of our servers are minors taking extra shifts since they don't have to be at school. So I'm personally extra disgusted that they would be subjected to that. Those kids are like little sisters to me, and I absolutely won't stand for them being disrespected or treated like anything other than the professionals they are. I wanted the manager to kick them out then and there and tell them they weren't welcome back for subjecting not only unconsenting adults, and I think that's probably it, that's their kink, doing it in public, pushing it as far as they can around people who aren't into what they're doing. That's what gets them off. Just trying to enjoy a meal out, but literal kids to their sexual crap. But I guess they get a warning. I don't technically have any authority, but the managers respect me enough to take my word and back me up. Obviously I'll tell the manager on duty before I do anything, but I feel like they deserve to have security escort them out if they try anything again. We're in a shopping center and security personnel is always available to us. Also, if security gets involved, there's a chance they get banned from the whole shopping center. Sucks for them, I guess. Make better choices, maybe? Maybe I'm still heated because of the literal kids and teenage staff that were exposed to their nonsense, but they shouldn't have been doing it in the first place, even if only adults were present. In my opinion, now that they've been warned once, if they try it again, they deserve every consequence we can impose on them. How would you handle this? I'm absolutely not going to let my girls be subjected to this. Not to mention our other guests. If they try it again, are we within our rights to ban them? Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much public indecency, right? Engaging in sexual action, yeah, public indecency. Quite frankly, I'd leave them to it and then call the cops and let the cops break up. Do you have cameras filming them? Is this caught on camera? Maybe think about calling the police. Alrighty, story 4. Not sure how to deal with an aggressive manager, by Glum Literature 9462. Hi, I'm a new server, 23, female, on the East Coast. I work for a restaurant inside of a retired living center, and the residents are primarily upper-class white boomers. I am a South Asian person who is a visible Muslim. I bring these things up because it would be remiss to not mention the possible biases that exist within all of us. I have had 2 experiences over the course of almost 7 months at this job, where a table told my manager I was unpleasant or rude. This is going to be about the 2nd time. I went up to this table with my customer service voice on, and immediately I recognized that they were making jokes at my expense that were so subtle that if I didn't pay attention, I wouldn't have recognized that they were jabs. I immediately became uncomfortable and unsure of myself. I have had several jobs in the past and have never worked food service. This is not my norm, nor is this an arena I am the most learned of. What I do know is nowhere I have worked have I ever had this kind of experience regarding the attitudes you might encounter at a table, with my manager being what comes off to me as dismissive, aggressive, and hostile. I am a coachable and collaborative person, but not if you're coming at me crazy. Then I just get uncomfortable and upset. Anyhow, I then just drew back in my personality a little and took their orders and left, still served them and such. 7 minutes or so later, my manager comes up to me, and she is in my personal bubble, throwing accusations and statements at me, that weren't even questions, just statements. She goes, "Table X complained that you were rude." I don't ever want to hear that. You go up to them, you smile, you say, "Hi, how are you? If this is not for you, then find another job." They are on the dining committee, and it's these things that give this restaurant a bad rating, and I do not want a bad rating. Do not disrespect the residents. I want you to go over there and apologize. To which you say, no. Now, this might be the norm. This might even be normal in this industry. Oh, to believe the customer over the staff? Yeah, it is. All too normal, unfortunately. But I am not used to this. This is almost a corporate-like restaurant. I backed away, and she still got in my bubble and aggressively spoke to me as such. I was flabbergasted and shocked because I had no idea or even an inkling that my table felt offended because I had zero intentions of being rude. I'm just so confused. Well, probably because they realized that you caught on to them and pulled back a little, so they were offended. And I expressed this to her, but she just kept talking over me. "Then you talk louder." Then when she said, "Don't disrespect the residents," that's when I got offended and said, "Now you're going too far, because it goes against my own personal ethos to disrespect or hurt the elderly. Genuinely. Such an accusation is slanderous." I didn't apologize. Excellent, what I like to hear. But I did make an effort to seem more cheery and helpful. As a server, I suppose I could have easily done so, but I was in a state of shock, embarrassment, and confusion. As a human, I felt that would have been denigrating. My first week when I transferred from the original restaurant, there's 3 on campus, I got hired in and was told I'd been converted to full-time. I was not even given a trainer or any kind of briefing. Hell, the managers didn't even have me on the schedule despite my contract going into effect. I still showed up, and despite not knowing all the ins and outs, I did my best. I got a write-up for a mess-up. And then when I told her and her boss I don't have a server trainer or anyone showing me the ropes, she got embarrassed and got put on her butt because it was obvious she messed up. Of course, she didn't really care all that. Sounds like she's got a vendetta, is what it sounds like. She didn't really care all that much, nor did it change anything. Since my first week, it's felt that she's been hostile, looking for a reason to yell at me always, and just be mean to me and not anyone else. I do not know what to do because I'm tired of being treated like this at work. You look for other work. You have to stay there until you get something, but you should be actively looking. I literally do not get paid enough, and I don't think this behavior is appropriate or professional. No amount of money, even if you were making all the money in the world, would be enough to be disrespected at work. It just shouldn't happen. What can I do? She's considered the top dog of the managers, that I don't even know if I can be heard. Looking for any feedback or advice, even if it's about how I can be a better server. Well, you're new, so being a better server is something that will come in time. You've really said nothing about the quality of your work, beyond the fact that according to your manager you did literally everything wrong, is what it sounds like the way she's talking. And if you were doing that much wrong, that consistently, why did they keep you there? So that's obviously nonsense. No, I think your only solution there, because it's not going to get better. I mean, you might stick it out thinking, oh, it's going to improve. It's not. It's only going to get worse, and your mental health is going to get worse as a result. So look for other work. See if you can transfer to one of the other restaurants in the meantime, and when you do get something else, leave. If you don't have to give them notice, don't give them notice. Screw them. Alright, 5th and final story today. Anyone keep coming back to the industry? By Drain Guva. I'm still pretty young, 23, but feel like I've already had a complicated relationship with the restaurant business, like an on-again and off-again girlfriend. I got my first job slinging dishes when I was 15, and just wanted some cash to buy pot. Chef saw that I could put my head down and work, so I ended up on pantry when we had a guy quit unexpectedly. Well, I ended up loving it. I had basically no cooking experience before this, could barely make myself breakfast. I was nearly flunking out of high school at the time and ended up taking the opportunity to do a vocational culinary program that would help me graduate easier plus get some culinary education, though I really learned a lot more on the job. I pretty much kept this up until I was 18. The pandemic hit, and I graduated high school. Fun times. I was working at probably the nicest restaurant in town, had gained respect from my chef and my co-workers, but I was having a lot of mental health troubles and was starting to really question what I wanted out of life and why I was here. I ended up quitting to pursue an art degree at community college. I've been an artist forever, basically. I worked some normal jobs here and there, easy retail stuff and the like, but I kind of just hated all of them. My stint at CC wouldn't last long, as I'd ended up leaving home due to family issues, needed a job, and fell back onto the one industry that I knew really well. Found a chef in my new city who really took me under his wing and taught me a lot about cooking, maturity, life, exercise, and health. New job really sparked my passion all over again, and I started really thinking about the whole chef thing again. I felt I would never be satisfied without the prestige, and was single-mindedly chasing success at all costs. After a year at the new place, I ended up switching to the most upscale place I ever worked. This place really didn't work out for me. The morale was terrible, which exacerbated mental issues and anxiety I was struggling with. I didn't feel pride in my work anymore, and just kind of resented cooking for rich people. I completely fundamentally disagree with this now. I then quit for the second time at 21 years old and actually ended up taking a huge pay cut to work at a public library. It was nice. I grew up reading and always loved the library, but I never really fit in like back in the kitchens. I think I just grown to really get along with kitchen folk, and the outside world just felt super foreign. Anyway, I recently ended up losing that job due to budget issues. Thanks, politics! Job market is terrible right now. Couldn't really find anything. So here I am in the industry once again, 2 years later. I thought it would be a hard transition, but it really hasn't been. It feels so familiar, and like coming back home. Well, it's good that no matter what you try in life, you have something you can always just easily slip back into, and it doesn't feel bad to do so. I mean, like, the thing other than voice work, the only other thing I'm qualified to do is retail, and I would rather die than go back to retail. And I think anybody who's ever worked retail probably feels that too. Any customer service job, really, I suppose. Anyway, it sounds like it might be your passion, so maybe it's worth sticking with it, getting up the ladders. You might even find yourself running your own kitchen one day. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Big thank you to everyone who allowed me to use their videos. If you'd like to support the channel and get early access to all the videos on Monday at once, sign up for my Patreon page. It's a pledge what you feel kind of thing. Minimum entry is $1, but that gets you early access to the videos. I think what else do we have down there? We have a link to my merchandise store on Teespring, as well as my Discord server, links to other social medias, and my email address, which is kingofthecities@gmail.com. If you need to contact me for any reason, be you need that story, asking for a shout out, or business related inquiries. That's everything for now, so until next time, thank you very much for watching, and take very good care of yourselves. Bye bye.